These right here are both scale 118 Shelby GT500s by Shelby Collectibles. The reason why I'm putting them in one video is because they are extremely similar, and the only differing characteristics are these interiors as well as the years. So this is a 2013. It's the one with 662 horsepower. Yes, 662 horsepower. It's a 200-mile-an-hour Mustang. Incredible. And this right here is the 2010, which really is the same thing as this, minus some of the engine upgrades. Differences on the model that we can see would be this front splitter. It's much more obvious on the 2013 than it is on the older one, as you can see there. Also, you might have noticed the front grille. They designed this one to be open, so you can actually see the radiator in there, just so it gets all that air it needs to power and cool that very large engine. Also, some differences with the wheels. So if we get into the quality, normally when you get two cars that are very similar to a model company, they use the same interior, the same everything when they're designing it. And sometimes that can be problematic when the car that they're basing it off of doesn't exactly have the exact same interior. This, in the case of the GT500, it does, but as you can see here, it's got some sun glare in there. See there, and here they are indeed different, and that's just interesting to see, because typically they would be exactly the same even though they're different years. So Shelby Collectibles is paying attention to their detail. It's not the best detail I've seen, but they're definitely paying attention to it. Again, we can continue looking at the differences here. 2010, 2013. That license plate was added on afterward. Looks a bit big though, might need to change that. So this has got the dual exhaust pipes versus the single. Both rims really look excellent on the car, definitely. Engine here. Alright, so this one isn't going to stay up, this one will. Let's get into there. Both of them, just excellent. Very, very well done. I especially had to point out this 2013, just because you can see the blue headers on there. They really just did a great job. Some of that's Ford's idea, you know, to bring back the blue headers back from the 1960s cars. I love it, and I hope they continue doing that. Another thing that you see is, you know, right here where the suspension housing is, they actually colored it in, and it's metal. It really excellent job. All the wires are here. It has depth. If you look underneath, you can even see the belt lines in there. Great, absolutely great. And the same, of course, goes for this GT500. Just as realistic. Same with that housing right there. Got a warning label. Very, very good to see. Both of these cars have stripes, and these stripes are done in sort of a matte paint. This one is a little less problematic than this one. This can scratch very, very easily. So when you're cleaning it, make sure you have a very, very soft cloth. This is more of a glossy one, so you don't have to worry about it so much. Underneath, pretty big black plastic piece, kind of hides the differential in there, and along with the axle and stuff, but it doesn't take away too much of effect. At least they put in some nice coloring where the transmission is and just around the engine area. See, the exhaust goes back there. Decent. seen better, but it's still pretty darn good. Suspension, as you can see, it is definitely separate from the bottom. I can move it. And pretty interesting tire pattern. These are Eagle F1 tires, supercar tires. So just get up close of these wheels. These just fantastic. Just look at those things. If this were Maisto, you'd probably have those center things colored in and it'd be like black in the middle, but nope, not with this. It goes all the way through. And this actually does turn. The brake disc caliper stays in place. Very nice to see. Underneath, my guess is going to be exactly the same. But yeah, same thing. Actually, you know what? It has a little bit more pattern up here. It's interesting to see. But it's the same thing, really. Now, what's interesting about these two is this one has glass. This one doesn't. It doesn't really matter to me. In fact, I prefer it not to have glass because I keep it in a cabinet anyway. It allows me to actually turn the wheels while the thing's closed, because both of these do have turning with the steering wheel. None of them, as any of the Shelby Collectibles do, have suspension. It's good to keep that in mind. Everything does open, but as I showed with this one, it is getting kind of weak in some of the areas. This actually does stay up, but again, I don't want to open it up too much because it might cause it to get weaker. The mirror's a little loose on both of them. Let's put this one aside for a little bit so I can just focus on this one, on the minor details. So, with the 2013 Shelby, as I mentioned, what they wanted to do was have this all the way opened, just so it's like a big gaping hole, just so all that air can go in. And it's not really there. Honestly, on this car, it doesn't, like, you can see the pattern, you can see this is where it's open, and you can even see that's where the radiator is. But it's just not all the way through. It doesn't have the depth that I would have liked to see it. As far as the headlights go, very nice quality headlights. There's these lines right here, the two chrome ones. Those are LEDs, and then back there, that's the turning signals. No peg, looks great. Definitely, and there's that Shelby logo there. This, of course, is the last Shelby Mustang that was around during the life of Carroll Shelby. GT500 right there. Along with that stripe, that's also a matte black. And back here, this is where the LED light is supposed to be, and it doesn't have. It's definitely not very reflective, except for in the middle, which is kind of a chrome color, and I have no idea why that's a chrome color, because it just isn't. I would have preferred them to use a clear plastic piece, but they decided against it for some reason. On the interior, and I will get to the other Shelby soon. Interiors of Shelby Collectibles cars aren't too impressive. As you can see here, the buttons are there, the patterns are there, but there is no coloring whatsoever on them. If I were to compare this to, say, a green light Ford Mustang GT, this wouldn't even stand a chance. But this, I have to give them credit with the seats. They do look pretty good, and it actually has that Cobra logo on the back. Oh, and I didn't even notice this. It actually says Recaro on it. Right there. These are Recaro racing seats. That's great. And it has a nice pattern, very similar to the classic Mustangs of the day. Cue ball shifter there. No carpeting, but although you can't see it because it's too dark, it does have a nice texture that looks very much like carpeting. It's actually one of the best plastic textures I've ever seen with regards to that. Now I know this video is running pretty long, but I've It's not often that you do two cars in review at once, so bear with me here. You can see there, the dials look pretty good. They're stickers, but it doesn't matter. They definitely look the part. You would barely even notice. And last but not least, this is not a painted spot as the 2013 is, so it looks better. And the interior, this one has the GPS feature as well as the stripes on the seats. So this has the comfort. It's more directed to comfort rather than on the sporty factor or track work. So once we focus, there we go. It's the exact same deal with they're not coloring the buttons a little bit. There, it looks like they're trying in the middle, but it's not quite doing the job. And I have no idea what the heck's going on with the gauge cluster behind the steering wheel. Looks like it's just popping out at the driver. Not sure if that's what the 2010 Mustang looked like, but that's what they decided to do. Everything else looks pretty good though. And this doesn't actually have, oh my bad, it does. This does not have, or this does have the carpeting pattern on the bottom. Alright, so that was a pretty long review, but I hope it was helpful to somebody looking at either one of these cars. This one right here is mine, this one here is a car that I'm borrowing, and both look excellent. I love the blue paint on this. I love the black on the black and red. It just looks absolutely mean. So it's a preference thing. This is the new one, that's the old one. This is the first gen GT500 of this style. This is the current latest one, and just great buys. They're around $45. They come in several different colors, and I would highly recommend them. Thank you very much for watching, and hope this helps.